episode of Come Over for Dinner. I'm so glad you're here. Joining me today is a lady named Jen, and she has more accomplishments to her name than I can probably list, but I'm going to try. She is a mother of 5, 3 boys and 2 girls. They range from 6 to 14, so she is busy. She was a music teacher before having children. She taught piano. She probably still teaches her own kids. She likes to do art. She's very talented at it. She does it for fun, and she had said she had 2 sisters that actually majored in art, so I feel like it kind of runs in her blood. She is also a baker, and she has made things for the farmer's market. My one regret last summer is that I did not go to the farmer's market she was at and buy the things that she told me about that she baked for the farmer's market. Welcome, Jen.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so another thing I failed to mention is that she is married, and her husband sells flour.
Yes,
of course, I'm probably not doing that job description justice. Tell us a little bit about your husband's job, because it is fascinating.
Yeah, so he's the CEO of Shepherd's Grain. They contract with no-till farmers, and I don't fully understand the process, but what they end up with is really high-quality flour that mostly sells to bakeries throughout Portland, Seattle, the Pacific Northwest for the most part. So it is a regional company. And yeah, very, very good flour.
So people and businesses looking for very high quality flour are looking to him to supply their flour needs. Mm-hmm. Does he sell one flour or a variety of flours?
Yeah, it's really a variety of flours. They have your all-purpose, the high gluten, low gluten, the 00 flour, which is a pizza flour specifically, but it's good for all sorts of things. And they have their pastry flour as well. They might have more than that. I don't know.
Okay, tell me what 00 means.
I don't even know.
What is a 00 flour?
No idea. It's very fine.
Okay.
He went to the International Pizza Expo in Las Vegas with so many international pizziolos there, and people were raving about the pizza flour there. So
were they making samples at this conference?
They do make samples.
Oh, my word. Please tell me you went with him.
I did not.
That is a regret.
Yes, it is. I know. That would be fun.
So does he travel? A lot of his area is the Pacific Northwest. Does he travel to talk to different places or bakeries, or does he, advertise to different people, or what does his job look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, they do have someone in advertisement, so he does not do that. He also does a lot of research as part of the job. So he will speak at like at WSU. He's spoken there before,
which is Washington State University.
Yep. So he'll go speak there. I don't know where else, but he does speak at various places, but it's more of a university type thing, not at the bakeries.
Maybe education on what no-till farming is.
Yep, they do that. They present research. He's been hired to do. I remember Cliff Bar at one time hired him to do a little research project.
That's kind of fascinating.
But yeah, some soil research out in the Sun Valley area. So he did that.
Interesting. I don't know exactly what no-till farming is, but I'm guessing that it preserves the nutrients in the soil.
It does preserve it, and then you don't have so much dust kicked up into the air where your topsoil's being blown away all the time. And then in winter, when the snow is melting and running off the fields, you see all that erosion where tons more topsoil is being washed away into the ditches and stuff, and we're losing earth.
Yes,
is what's happening. And then yes, you have the part of the nutrients being lost in the soil, which with the soil's not healthy, you're not going to have a healthy crop.
Right.
And so
what he sells is probably higher in nutrition or nutritional value than regular flour.
They require a certain protein count in their flour, which it's all part of the quality control. And he has done research into crop rotation, which is another thing that we would love to see happening more, because if you grow wheat and only wheat for generations, you're also not going to have very healthy soil.
Really? Yeah. That actually makes sense, because if you grow other things, they would bring something else to the soil.
They do. And that's also a really good form of weed control if you're trying to become what's the word? I can't even think of the word. Where you're not using all the pesticide, organic, for heaven's sakes. Can you tell I'm a mom or what? I can't even
Natural.
talk.
There's a big argument about all those words. For a long time, I don't know, I'm sure it's very, very well defined, what you have to mean scientifically if you say organic on a package.
Yes.
But for a long time, I would see packages that would say, all natural. And I'm like, oh, this is healthy.
Yes.
Somebody was like, that doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't necessarily. Another interesting thing he does, he is a certified organics inspector.
Oh, wow.
So anyone who wants to be certified with the state as organic has to be audited every year, and, they've got to check. And so he knows exactly what goes into that, and they get away with a lot of stuff. Because they have to, just in trying to control weeds. And so that's the real big argument for crop rotation. If you can achieve weed control without needing to use pesticides, right? So most organic products are not as organic as people think they are.
Because they have a certain leeway that they can.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. We have to feed people, and farmers have to make a
have to be able to keep
profit.
The bugs from eating their crops.
Yeah. I mean, priority number one is feed people. Mm-hmm. But
if you've ever read Little House on the Prairie,
exactly.
You know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's in that book. Well, there's a whole series, of course, but one of the books, it's the grasshopper plague. Come and eat all the crops.
I know.
Had no way to combat them.
It was a fairly common thing. I mean, you had at every season the different things you would worry about, for so many different ways. You could have crop failure. So.
It's tough to be a farmer, for sure.
It is.
Okay, so your husband sells the flour. Well, I mean, I know you said there's marketing, but he's part of selling the flour to bakeries. Mm-hmm. Does he ever get to sample their products? They have this high-quality nutritional flour. Yep. Tell me he gets to taste what they make.
We do, yes. Occasionally I get to go with them, and those are my favorite trips to places like Portland, Seattle, where the very, very fun bakeries are.
They are known for their restaurants.
Yes, they are. Top favorite that I've ever been to is it's Saint Honoré in Portland. It's a fantastic bakery. It was started by a Frenchman. He was knighted in France for his baking skills. So, if even the French think he's worthy of note, he's something special.
To be high up there to be becoming a knight because of his baking.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think I will ever achieve such levels in my lifetime.
No.
Okay, so the man who was knighted, is he still a part of the bakery, or was this years? Are he still alive?
No, he is. Yeah.
Wow.
He's still alive, and I don't know how many locations are open now, but there are more than one, even just in the Portland area. So
that's
definitely worth a trip.
Definitely worth the trip if you're in Portland or in that area.
Yeah.
Look up Saint Honoré. Mm-hmm. I'm going. See you later, guys. Short podcast. We're done here.
Yeah. Food.
Hitting the road. Okay. Very fun. Well, when you go to bake or cook for your family, or especially if you're thinking about inviting guests over and you're making a large amount, what is a favorite menu you would serve?
Okay, well, one of my favorites for the fall-winter season, which I picked because it's coming up, starts with a butternut squash soup.
That sounds amazing. I love butternut squash.
I know. It is fab. It is a recipe I discovered in our first year of marriage, and now almost 15 years later, it is still one of the very top in our rotation.
That's some serious tried and true.
Right?
If you've kept it for 15 years and 5 kids are still eating it or want to eat it, this is a good recipe.
Yep, I know. And my husband's not even like a soup fan, but he is happy every time this one shows up because it's just good.
Okay, well, I might make it for my husband and not tell him what it is.
I mean,
until he's in love with it.
If I am serving it for supper, I do always have a meat with it. It's like a starter course. Mm-hmm. If it's a ladies' lunch now, you can get away with just the soup. Works very well. But yeah, so I would do a butternut squash soup and then either a simple pot roast to go with it, or if you want to dress it up a little bit, this one here, it's an oven barbecued beef brisket, which brisket, I don't know if for everybody this is true, but in our area, it can be hard to find.
Really?
Yeah. Well, at Winco anyways.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not or disagreeing with you. I just am a little surprised because, down in the South,
right?
People are barbecuing brisket or doing something with brisket most weekends.
No, but this
brisket or ribs or hamburgers or something.
All of them, probably.
That's surprising.
But I have done this recipe with a chuck roast as well. It works just as good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're serving the soup with, say, a brisket, are you dividing those courses, or would you put it all out there together?
I would put it all out there together usually. I mean, yeah, I would have it on the table. Otherwise, it's just a lot of work.
That's true.
If you're hopping up and down the whole time.
Right, and especially if you have a crowd, then you're having to clear all the bowls for the
Right.
soup and then bring out the plates and everybody get back up and serve, or do family style.
Right, unless
That's
it's
true.
a fancy dinner where you've hired servers. Like I did a Christmas dinner last year where I was one of the cooks, and we used this soup as the starter course. And, there was
Sure.
me and another cook and several servers. So we did do it that style.
Right, when you want it to be a little
Not if
fancier
it's,
and, yes, elevated a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so butternut squash soup with
Yep.
marsala and thyme. I'll post that recipe.
It's got a lot of bacon in it. That's kind of the key to success to this
Okay.
recipe, at
What
least.
husband wouldn't like this soup?
Right? It is so good.
Oh.
So yeah, butternut squash soup, a good hearty meat side, and then just a salad. One of the ones that I've loved to do with it has pomegranates on the top because you're working with such fun colors here. The butternut squash soup has such rich color.
It sounds perfect for
And
Christmas.
right? It
really
is so
does.
perfect for Christmas. The salad with the green, and then if you do orange slices, some red onion rings, pomegranate seeds on the top, it's just
Beautiful.
It's eye candy before you've even tasted it.
People will think you went to chef school or something. Okay, and do you have a particular recipe for that?
I did not print one out. It's got a pomegranate white wine vinaigrette on the salad, and I think that's probably something you could find a recipe for if you wanted to make it yourself, or just buy it bottled. That's probably not too hard to
A
find.
shortcut.
Yeah.
Do you buy pomegranates and de-seed them?
I have done that, and I have also bought the pomegranate juice for making the vinaigrette. It saves a lot of time.
And can you buy pomegranate seeds like in a little cup?
Yeah,
or
you
something?
can get that
Maybe
little
they're
cup.
pom-poms or something like that.
They have the flavor of whatever preservative is in there. So my favorite is to get the pomegranate yourself, but when you're pressed for time,
tastes
it
better when it's
totally
fresh.
works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good note. I mean, if you're pressed for time, then yes, maybe you would want to grab
Exactly.
the cup. But do know there's a slight change in flavor.
I think so anyways, but
Well, it makes sense. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
going to sit on a store shelf and last for a while,
Yeah.
they add a little bit of something to it to make it last longer than a day or two.
yeah. Yeah, I think they do. And then, if you need to like stretch your dollar, which all of us do at some time or other, the soup makes your meat go much further. So everyone starts with a soup.
They're partially full.
Yes.
They're not starving.
Before they've even launched into the meat. Or you could throw mushrooms in with your roast and let them cook in all that meat juice, and that's another thing to help fill up people. Potatoes also. Have you ever cooked them in the pot roast juice? I mean, I'm sure you have. Who hasn't? They get the best flavor.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how I've done a pot roast before. I usually do a crock pot, and yes, absolutely. Then you have, you have a gravy with pot roast. You have a gravy that you pour on top of everything.
Right. Yes. But if they've cooked in that
They
juice,
cooked in that, they have the flavor.
they do,
of the
and they
gravy.
seem almost a little more filling. Maybe they are. They've probably soaked up meat fat.
That's true.
Yeah.
Throw some salt on there, and you've got some
Yes.
happy people.
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay, so butternut squash soup, oven barbecued beef brisket, a salad, and
Potatoes. And then, bread. That's another great filler.
bread. Do you sometimes serve something besides brisket? Just
Oh,
by
for
the
sure.
way, what's your other thing that you might go to if somebody can't find a brisket or it's too pricey or whatever? What else might you do?
There's another favorite for us is a balsamic quick-braised pork chop. And again, Pork chops can be a little pricier. I have bought the pork loin before and chopped it up into like steak size pieces.
Where you're kind of making your own pork chops.
Exactly. And cooked it this way, and it works wonderfully well. This is another great recipe. It's so rich in flavor, and it has bacon.
Oh, sold.
So there's a theme here.
There's a theme here. She does have a husband and 2 boys.
I do. And our family calls my husband the bacon master.
Oh, that's great.
Loves it. He cooks it really well, and
Okay, well, if he cooks it really well and he's the master, what's his technique? Because there's so many techniques for cooking bacon, and people argue about it.
Yes.
I actually watched an entire YouTube video. This is way too much information. They did an experiment of cooking bacon. Oh, I don't even remember, 6, 7 different ways. Whether it's in the oven on a sheet pan or on the stove top, and it was different techniques too. It was like the flip multiple times or only flip once, or it went on and on.
Yeah, I know.
So how does the master do it? Just just out of curiosity.
Yeah, he stovetop.
Okay.
Fairly low heat, and he babies it to death. He'll flip it back and forth at any bit that's not cooking as much. He sits there with his fork and presses it down so that when it's done, labor intensive, but it's good bacon.
Cooked completely evenly and in perfection.
Yeah.
And he does low heat.
Fairly low,
like medium low. Okay, I'm going to try it. I think this is actually a technique my brother-in-law was sold on.
Okay.
He came to my house and we were doing something, and I don't know if it was what meal it was, but somehow he was in charge of cooking the bacon, and he kept doing the same thing, babying it and flipping back and forth. I'm like, why are you flipping it so many times?
This is a lot of work.
And I don't remember his whole spill, but it convinced me, and so I actually have done that. I probably cook it on a bit higher heat, so I'm going to have to lower it and try that and see if I like it better.
Yeah.
Some people even microwave bacon.
They do.
Which
my husband would consider sacrilege.
Would he?
Yeah.
Way back in the day, I remember having one of those. It was kind of a tan brown color. It was this circular plate or thing. I don't even know if it's a plate that had ridges, and you could put bacon strips on it and put it in the microwave and cover it with paper towel.
Yeah.
But I can't really remember the quality.
I know.
I think a kid's probably happy with anything.
Yeah, probably.
I probably thought it tasted just fine. But
I know.
I'd have to rethink
Some
that.
of our childhood memories, and then you try it again, and it's
It's like, not sure that that's the best technique. Maybe we'll go to the stovetop.
Yeah, for sure.
With this fabulous menu, tell me about a dessert you might serve.
Okay, a go-to for us, especially in this fall food kind of mood, is a nectarine and plum crisp with an oatmeal streusel. It is so good.
Sounds amazing.
On top of the fruit that you've got in there, they add 2 types of citrus, the lemon juice and the orange juice. It just has a real zing of fresh flavor. And then you top it with the oatmeal. And then, after you've baked it, it comes out hot. You've got to put ice cream on there, vanilla ice cream or whipped cream, something.
Either one is.
Yes, it works so well with all the punchy flavors. Yeah.
Do you find that you can get good nectarines in the fall?
That would be the hard bit. And I have, let's see, what have I substituted with before? I can't even remember.
Maybe you can. It's just that you probably have to shop early and let them ripen on your counter a bit.
You would have to do that or do this now where it's like tail end of summer.
That's true.
Leading into fall. Not really fall yet. But I bet you could just do this with apples.
That's true.
Maybe do 2 apples so you have your green ones and your red ones in there. An apple crisp is really good.
For sure. Okay, well, I will also post this in this. You mentioned the Food and Wine blog earlier.
Yeah.
Didn't you mention Food and Wine?
I did.
That was your blog?
Yep.
That you really like. This is actually a Food and Wine recipe.
It is a Food and Wine, and on their website, I don't remember how many ratings it has, quite a few, full 5 stars.
Wow.
Everybody loves this recipe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder, could you ever use frozen fruit in this sort of thing?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. Not that you can get nectarines or plums frozen, but I know you can get peaches frozen.
Yes.
I don't know.
Someone should try.
We should try.
That would be good to know. Maybe you would put a little more flour into the fruit mixture to help soak up the juicy.
That's
you
true.
usually have a little more juice with
That is
frozen.
true.
Or maybe you just thaw it ahead of time. I don't know.
Well, experiment. Maybe don't experiment when company's coming over.
Try it first.
Try it first. And then Let us know how it goes in the comments.
Exactly.
All right. Well, dessert, I always feel is kind of a must when company's coming over. So if you have time to make the nectarine and plum crisp with oatmeal streusel, your guests will go away very happy.
Yeah, I think they will. And if you don't have time for that, I mean, ice cream. Who complains about ice cream?
Buy ice cream. Don't even have to worry about making a dessert.
Exactly.
And this is probably best served warm.
It is.
You could even make it ahead of time.
You can.
Chili and put it back in the oven.
Favorite is to serve it in individual ramekins, in which case you've got to give everybody a little hot plate or something to keep it on. But you can have it all portioned out, ready to just slip in the oven. So set it away on a counter somewhere after you've prepped it, cover it, and then right into the oven it goes. And people get to smell it the whole time it's baking, and that's half of it.
Magical.
Yeah.
It really is.
You got to smell it for 30 minutes before you're allowed to dig in.
Dying for that dessert by the time it hits the table.
Yes.
It's kind of fun to have little small individual servings.
I think it is. And, a crisp gets quite messy if you try to scoop it out, which is fine. That's what crisp is. Right. But it's colors in a white ramekin. It's just, I don't know. It makes me happy.
And then you have the perfect little spot to dollop on top. You have a plate, maybe the crisp is spread everywhere. And,
and
the cream starts sliding or the ice cream starts sliding. This just makes it look pretty.
Yeah, it does.
Do you buy ramekins from a certain spot? Do you just purchase them over the years?
Yeah, I have gotten, I think, all of mine on Amazon. They get the nice sets of, I don't remember how many numbers. Is it 12?
Maybe so.
Something. And they have the different sizes. They have like the 3-inch or the 3.5 and you can find any of it.
What do you prefer? Like, what do you feel like you use the most?
What do I use? I think I use the smaller size.
Okay.
So if you're doing individual servings, it's like you really don't need the big one.
Ramekins.
No. I do have 2 different sizes, but I typically reach for the smaller one.
Okay. I will look for these.
Yeah.
And you like white the best because it makes your food stand out a bit.
Right. You don't have to think about what color it is you're putting in it when your palette's neutral. It's like having a blank canvas.
That's true. Don't most restaurants serve on white platter or white, not platters, but white dishes?
I mean, unless you're in a Mexican place or something where the
fiesta ware.
Right, everything's colorful on purpose, and nothing has to go because everything's there.
But in a restaurant that serves lots of different dishes, it seems like you always see white.
They do typically do white. Yep.
So, speaking of her artistic abilities, she is now using her canvas, the canvas on her table, to serve to guests. I love that imagery. Yeah. It's a work of art when you put out the butternut squash soup and the beautiful salad and the oatmeal streusel.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that delicious recipe with us.
Yes.
What is your best prep tip? Like when you're looking, you have probably from cooking for so many years, you have a wide variety of things you choose from, but you're prepping for company coming. Where do you look for cooking inspiration?
Ooh, yes. I find a lot of them on Pinterest.
Okay.
I like the Half-Baked Harvest blog. I like foodandwine.com. They actually have a lot of really good recipes. And they have several different systems of rating where you can modify your search by, like, the staff has rated them very highly. Like chefs have tried them and liked this. And I really like that feature.
For sure. So if you have a 5-star rating from a few chefs or the staff, it's probably a pretty good recipe to try.
Exactly. Yeah. So foodandwine.com, that's a fantastic one. And Williams-Sonoma's got a lot of fun recipes. I've liked a lot of theirs over the years. The butternut squash soup is one of theirs.
Okay. Out of a cookbook that you have? I'll look for it online because a lot of times they do post WilliamsSonoma.com has.
They share so many recipes. Yeah.
But if not, I'll print it or type it up and share it and of course give them the credit. But make sure you can have access to that recipe that you need to try. It has bacon, guys. That's all you need to know.
Right? We're all sold.
We're sold. All right. What about cleaning? So you have lots of kids and before and after, but especially after cooking for a family of 7 plus company, what do you do? Give us a tip for cleaning.
Get everybody involved.
Amen.
Yeah, I have kids old enough to be really good helpers at this point. So yeah, they do. They pitch right in and help a lot. I don't think there's anything particularly special. Dawn Power Wash is great for dishes.
For sure.
If you have anything with really stuck on food, you spray that and let it sit a little while, and it works very, very well.
How long do you have to let it sit typically?
I think up to 10 minutes, but
Okay.
I probably have never actually done that. Not quite patient enough.
Right. Once it sits for a little bit, it works pretty quick.
Yeah, it does.
Degreaser.
Yeah, it works on grease, on sticky things. There was a friend who was, they'd been barbecuing in a covered porch for a year. And of course, it had all the dark grease and everything on the top of it. And they sprayed that on there, let it sit a while, and then just hosed it all off. And it come right off. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty awesome stuff. And it works on stainless steel, which is very
Okay,
good.
so tell me what you do with stainless steel.
I just spray it right on there and wipe it down with a damp rag.
And so like a dishwasher, refrigerator,
Yeah.
it's not streaky or anything
No,
like that.
it works so well.
What?
And it cuts the grease, like on your stove, if it's the stainless parts.
Right.
It cuts the grease while it does the nice polishing bit. And yeah.
Well, especially most stove hoods, Venta hoods,
Oh, yes.
or ranges, or whatever you call them. There's official names, I'm sure. But they get so greasy that they can start dripping grease if you don't clean them.
Yes.
The grates, if you look kind of up underneath,
Yeah. And
you
it's
can
like a
pop them out and clean them.
fine metal mesh, which is hard to get through to all the layers. So yeah, I did clean that a little while ago, and I
Pop
used the
those out,
Dawn
spray
Power
it with
Wash.
that.
Yep. Let it sit a little bit.
Hot soapy water.
Yes.
I guess it's already soap, but hot water.
Yep.
Run it all
To
through.
rinse it right off.
And then that top part too.
Mm-hmm.
You can just spray and wipe, I guess.
Yes, you can.
Yay.
Yep. It's very good stuff.
Anything to cut through the grease faster and make cleaning faster, I'm all for it.
And it smells good.
That's true.
It's a good thing.
That's true. There are some cleaners out there that are just too harsh.
Oh, yeah, like burn
Give
the
you an
inside of
instant
your
headache.
nose as you use them. Yeah.
Yes. Just it can
Yeah.
make it, just where you're like, oh, don't want to clean. Okay, what is your best advice for showing warm hospitality to those coming into your home?
Right. Well, I think the most important thing is to be calm once they've come in. There are so many tips on decorating or how you set your tables, and we all have different styles, different budgets. So many factors weigh into that. But I think the biggest thing to making people actually feel welcome in your home is to not be stressed out. Mm-hmm. If you've set yourself such a high standard for either the menu or your decor or whatever it is, that you are stressed out when they come, it's like nobody is going to feel welcome in a home where your presence has made the inhabitants stressed.
Right. Everybody just wants, well, maybe except for the guests walking in, everyone else wants the event to already be over.
Right. And who wants that? And it's like, and people will pick up on it. Mm-hmm. They will feel it if you've been stressed or driving your kids too hard to clean up because you're standard where you've got to have.
And then if you are trying to get your kids involved, the next time you say, we're having so-and-so over for dinner, they're just going to run to their rooms crying.
Yeah. And hospitality shouldn't be drudgery.
They should be excited.
Exactly.
And knowing that, yay, if we pitch in, then we get to have company over, and it's an exciting time. Right. Even though there's work involved.
And it's not where mom turns into an ogre because people are coming.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want that. And to help with that, it's like, do the cleaning beforehand. You don't want that the day of.
No.
If at all possible, get that out of the way beforehand so that you are not trying to cram too much all into that last day.
Right.
And it can really help to write out your a timeline for your food prep as well, which is another great thing about this butternut squash soup. It kind of has to be made ahead. It's a bit involved, but it will last in the fridge for days and it will freeze really well. So yeah, I've made big batches of it and then frozen it in smaller sections to pull out for multiple occasions.
I actually love recipes that freeze if you have the space, because it can make, when we talk about a timeline and you think about, okay, if you back it up days in advance and you have cleaning and then you have grocery shopping and then you have prepping the stuff that can be made ahead of time.
Yes.
It's still a lot of work that week.
It sure is.
But let's say that on a bright, sunny Saturday with nothing else to do, you make, a giant batch of squash soup, butternut squash soup. Then all of a sudden, the week that you're having company over, you're just defrosting part of your menu.
I know. And if your one day of work gives you 3 or 4 dinners,
yes,
that is so worth it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that tip. What is your must-have kitchen item, and where can we find it?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, a good knife. That's like crucial, I think. It makes any prep work a joy if you've got a really good knife. And I have one I do love. It's a Japanese blade that I found on Amazon for $30.
What? Right. You said Japanese blade. I'm thinking I better start saving.
I know, you're thinking like $600 or something. And I'm no knife expert. Maybe people who really know about knives would turn their nose up at this knife. But
I mean, if it's sharp and it works.
Right? And I was figuring at that price point, so say it's nice for 2 years and then I have to replace it. I don't mind doing that at that price point.
For sure. Yeah. And it sharpens pretty well?
I haven't even sharpened it. I've used it for more than a year, and it's definitely not as sharp as it was, but it is still sharp enough that, yes.
Wow. Okay, you have to tell us the brand of this special Japanese blade.
The brand. I'm going to have to pull up my order history to find what it was.
Well, and that's okay. I can always just post it. I do have a website, so anytime you want recipes or our product recommendations, if you visit comeoverfordinner.com, there is a page. Well, there's 2 places it'll be. So she'll have an episode page where her episode is. You can also listen wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple or Google or Spotify, a few other places. But then there's a recipes page, and if you click on her recipe, her name and recipe, then if you scroll to the bottom, I'll definitely post her recommendation, but then there's also a separate page. I don't remember what it's called, maybe shop or something like that, but that's the place where all the products that have been recommended are placed, in case you just want a quick glance at all the different things that people are saying that they love. So, all right, she actually found it. What is it?
I did find it. It's Imarku. I don't know if that's how you would say that. Imarku.
Okay.
Japanese chef knife. It is high carbon stainless steel, ergonomic handle, and it's a joy to use. I take it with me everywhere. If I'm prepping somewhere, at a friend's house, it goes with me.
I feel like most people can afford $30.
I think
that is a great idea and a great gift.
It is. Yeah, it comes in a pretty case and everything.
Not everyone. Like, I think of wedding registries too. Sometimes the bride and groom may receive a really nice knife set, but to receive a really nice knife set, it's a lot of money.
It's a ton.
So if they don't have that, getting a knife like this would be a great gift.
Yeah, it would. Yes,
they were working on building their collection.
Exactly.
Okay, very fun. And one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning when I was introducing her, which is actually very important, because I was so eager to get to the flour to hear all about this. I want to say 00. That's
double zero.
Double zero flour.
Yeah.
00 flour. I wanted to hear all about the 00 flour because I find it fascinating. I want to get better at knowing different flours.
Yeah.
I always just buy unbleached white flour or whole wheat flour. I have used spelt flour, which is really fun because it's just a lighter wheat, and so it's not as heavy and dense as whole wheat. And so I put, when I make muffins and pancakes and things like that, I usually don't do all white flour. I do part wheat or part spelt. Maybe throw in some wheat germ or something like that. It just makes them heartier. Yeah. Makes them less cakey. But my pizza is not very good, I don't think, after hearing about this 00 flour.
Yeah.
My pizza could improve. So I'm going to have to go buy some and then give you a phone call.
Yeah.
But one thing I did forget to mention was that she also has helped with New St. Andrews College events and has cooked for some of them, helped cook. I mean, I don't know if I'm putting on you the whole meal.
No,
but
don't do that.
Especially the baking. So tell us some of the things you've done.
For the last President's Dinner, Francis Fukushon, who's a classically trained French chef, was doing the dinner. And he's so fun to work with. Even if you're just serving his food,
Yes.
it's fun.
Because you can taste his food.
Yes, he always feeds his servers. But yeah,
I
just
would
watching
sign up just for that.
Yeah, smelling it, seeing the wine pairings, just the level of care and thought he puts into it is.
You're watching a master at work.
You are, yep. And he's a jolly guy, so it's fun.
He was trained in Lyon, France,
I
I
think
believe,
that's so.
by the top chef in Lyon at the time.
Yeah.
And he's a very amazing chef.
Yes.
So this past year, he did do maybe for the past 2 years, he's done
Yes.
the President's Dinner, which is a fundraising dinner, I
Yeah.
believe. And it's a very fancy dinner.
It is
How
a
many
fancy
courses was
was it
were served?
7 last time?
I think so.
7? It might have been 8.
May have been.
I think he
There were
did.
2 desserts, guys. There were 2
There were 2 desserts.
It was amazing.
There was a cheese course too.
I still dream.
Yeah.
I still dream about these courses, but the one I loved the most, if I had to choose, they were all amazing. But if I had to choose, it was the one that Jen had a part of. So tell us about it, because I'm not going to try to pronounce the French name.
Oh man. Okay. Well, he replicated a dish from Babette's Feast, which classic movie. I don't know how many people have seen it anymore. It's kind of a long and maybe boring one, a lot of people would say.
I haven't seen it in so long that
Yeah.
I remember it, but I don't remember the details. So I need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. But the whole story culminates in this feast that this French chef puts on. So he borrowed one of the dishes out of there, and it is a puff pastry cup called a vol au vent, and that's the part that I made for him. And in it, he put black truffle and quail and grapes that had soaked in cognac for 9 months. And oh my goodness, I don't even remember what else.
I'm trying to, there was some kind of, it would be sacrilege for me to say gravy
Right?
sauce. There was some kind of,
it
there's
was a
something
veal
else in
reduction sauce.
okay.
One that takes 36 hours to make that sauce. And yeah,
so delicious.
yeah,
It's so delicious.
it was
And okay, so say the name of the pastry again.
a vol au vent.
Okay.
And I'm still, don't let Francis hear this, because I'm
I'm
sure
not
he
gonna-
would have
if
problems with
I
my
said it-
pronunciation.
If I said it, he would, yes, he would cover his ears and scream. But inside, it almost makes up a little bit hollow.
It does, yes. You to make them, you make your puff pastry dough, and then you cut out a circle for the bottom layer, and then another circle the same size, but in that circle you cut away the middle, so you're left with just a ring. And you seal those together with butter that you let sit in the fridge for at least a couple hours to like really seal those. And then you bake it. So yes, they both puff up, but you have a ring so that you end up with a little puff pastry cup.
So you use double zero flour for this.
Well, for that one, I actually did several different things. He asked me to do this, and I wanted it to be right because he's a Frenchman, and he's not a baker, but he has eaten French baked goods. He knows how it should be. So I did a few trial batches, and the one that we landed on was a blend of 00 and pastry flour.
Okay.
That was the one that he said was like
the
France.
key.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you learn? You didn't go to pastry school.
I did not.
How did you learn to make such an amazing, fancy pastry?
Okay, well, my mom made bread. She would make starter breads. One of my favorites, all of my sisters will tell you the same. We call it vodka bread because it's a potato starter. Okay. And so it ferments, and you get this very fermented potato flavor in the bread. It's divine. It is so good.
It's ridiculous. Something your mom made growing up?
Yeah. She makes that and other stuff, and I started making bread, just simple breads, and focaccias, pitas, the ones that puff up. They're a little bit tricky because the dough is just so very sticky. Okay. So worked with a few different doughs. I don't know, it just kind of jumped in. There's not much that's really tricky about the French pastries. It's more a matter of, do you have the patience to do it again and again and again? Because those steps you're going, well, and even once your technique's down, you're going to roll out the dough and fold it and then refrigerate it and then pull it out and roll it and fold it and refrigerate it. And yeah, you're just going to do it a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, there's a few key things like don't overwork your dough, keep your dough chilled, just a few temperature control things. But the rest of it is, will you do it?
Right.
That, yeah.
Are you going to take the time to do it?
Yeah.
Well, we are so happy she did take the time because it was my favorite of the courses. It was so delicious. Okay, and so just recap. Okay, so we did inside. It was kind of hollow. We took the top off.
Yeah.
And then inside, it wasn't just a teensy little shaving of black truffle. It was a little bitty tiny slice.
Yeah.
And then it was quail, cognac-soaked grapes. Is there anything else before that?
I have a feeling
sauce?
there was.
I feel like we're missing something.
I think we are.
Regardless, I don't
That was
know.
good.
There's something else. There's something else there, but
Yeah. Shoot, I should have brought the menu because I did keep one.
I did too. Watch a picture. It's on my phone actually somewhere. That's okay. It's really not important, but I feel like I should recreate that at some point in my life.
Yes.
Because it was just such a.
I don't know where you
amazing-
get quail, but
Well,
man, it was
in
good.
Truffles.
True. Truffles hard to come by.
Can't go down to the local grocery and get truffles.
No, you can't.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your favorite recipes that all are going to create a fabulous menu. I cannot wait to try all of them, but especially that butternut squash soup with bacon.
Exactly.
All right. Until next time. Bye.